to put reviews up on their site. Because I have a radical idea. I think everybody, every business should allow customers to post reviews. And you know what? The technology for this is inevitable. You can tell your clients this. The technology is inevitable. It's going to happen no matter what. And you don't have anything to do with it, Mr. Client. Let me show you a review I posted on Delta's website. When Delta came out with Wi-Fi, I posted a review there. I love the Wi-Fi on Delta flights. This is in 2009. Delta does not allow customers to post reviews on their website. I posted this using Google SideWiki, which is a web annotation program. I could have used Dig, iGlue, StumbleUpon, Aperture, Reframe It, Digo. Any of those platforms, other members of that platform can go and read my review. And Delta has nothing to do with it at all. It's not their website I'm posting it on. It's a representation of their website. Customers are going to want to see the opinions of their friends and other customers. They're going to want to see it at the point of sale. Technology is inevitable, and honest reviews generate sales. The numbers actually show today that a negative review has a higher correlation with a sale than a positive review. Now, why would that be? It's actually very simple. You ever go to a vacation site, you're trying to analyze a vacation site, and you look at the reviews to see whether you should go to this site, and all the reviews are 5-star, every one of them. This is heaven on earth. This is a fantastic place. I wish you'd come here. We're going to come here every year. This is great. Love this place. Everyone is a positive 5-star review. What do you think? Faked. Fake, right? They are either edited or they're faked, right? But if you see a whole bunch of 5-star reviews and there's somebody had a bad experience at this resort and his review is smack dab in the middle, I hate this place, the concierge sucks, you know, blah, blah. Suddenly all the 5-star reviews have credibility, right? That's why the negative review has such a high correlation to a sale, because it lends authenticity to the other reviews. And of course, I think in the future, customer reviews will be validated by social filtering. Now, what do I mean by that? You trust your friends, you probably trust the friends of your friends, so what do they think about a product or service that you're looking at? Now, right now, the product you look at, maybe none of your friends, maybe none of the friends of your friends actually saw that product or have looked at it. But 20 years from now, there will be 1,000 times as many customer reviews up, right? 20 years from now, there'll be 1,000 times as many targets for reviews. So social filtering is checking out what your friends think. Facebook's graph search is a first effort at social filtering. Being Facebook, they've aimed this graph search product at advertisers. But it's a great service to consumers. And you see social filtering aggregators like Wajam and Tagwat already springing up. I have a Wajam extension on my Chrome web browser. You know what it allows? When I look at a restaurant or a movie or a hotel, when I'm looking at that hotel or that restaurant, on the sidebar, I see if any of my LinkedIn connections, Facebook friends, or Twitter followers have ever said anything or made a comment or left a remark about that restaurant. That is cool. Excuse me. Those are real people. They aren't fakes. Those are real people. I know them personally, or I know people who know them personally. They're real. Social networks grow by a process called preferential attachment. It's a mathematical expression, but it creates a cascading effect. Preferential attachment works like this. A social network doesn't spring into existence fully formed. Well, Facebook didn't just spring up with 1 billion users, right? No, what happens is first, there are a few users on a network, and then others join. And every time somebody joins a social network, they're joining because they have connections with someone in the network who probably already has a lot of connections. That's called preferential attachment. And it's a rule that governs the evolution of all social networks so far, electronic social networks. That creates a cascading effect. Now, the Wall Street Journal did a survey of 25,000 user postings on 6 different sharing and collaboration websites, just to take a look at the structure of these networks. And they found some very interesting things. They found that, for instance, on Netscape, out of 1 million registered users on Netscape, 13% of the most popular postings came from one of those users. One out of that million. Did more than 10% of the postings, the popular postings. And they found a similar thing on Dig. On Dig, 900,000 registered users, and 1/3 of all the homepage postings, the ones the most popular postings, came from just 30 of those users, those 900,000. That's an incredible influence. Then they looked at Reddit. And on Reddit, they found that Reddit had a particular super user, a guy named Adam Feuer, who had millions of page views. Millions. He had so many page views he could sell advertising if he wanted to sell advertising. His specialization was writing opinion pieces about legal issues and software. And he apparently had done a brilliant review of Microsoft Vista, the new operating system that had different IP protection rules. So, the Wall Street Journal decided to look this guy up. Who is this guy, Adam Feuer? What's he do? How's he so smart? So they looked him up. You know what they found? Adam Feuer was 12 years old, lived with his parents in Toronto, Canada, where he went to grade school. Now, without a doubt, Adam Feuer is a very smart 12-year-old boy, okay? But out of 400,000 users on Reddit, surely there were a couple of hundred, probably several thousand users who were even smarter than Adam Feuer when it came to legal issues and software. Okay? How did Adam Feuer get where he got? He got there because his influence cascaded. Early on, he wrote some review about something that was very smart, and because a high-influence person read his review and gave him a thumbs up or a high five or a +1 or whatever, because this high-influence person read it, other people read it, and they piled on. It created a snowballing effect, a cascade. And so Adam Feuer became very influential. Now here's the point. If you were Microsoft and you came to me and you said, Don, we want you to find us the next Adam Feuer. Well, I can't do that. I couldn't do that any more than I could predict whether it's going to rain in Hanoi on May 12th, 2036. I can tell you that there will be an Adam Feuer, just like there was that one super user on Netscape. There were those 30 super users on Dig, but I can't tell you who it's going to be. That's an uncomputable problem. You know what that means? It means that all the computing power in the universe is not sufficient to calculate the answer to that. It's inherently unpredictable. So social media has a couple of management principles. When you go to manage social media, you need to remember a couple things. The principle of sharing. People like to share. That's why you leave reviews. Okay? That's why you help other people online. People like doing that. So how can a business tap into the urge to share? Is there a way? And what Martha and I call decontrol. Social activity is inherently unpredictable. You can't predict sentiment. You can't predict the course of a conversation. So how do you deal in this environment? How do you manage in an unmanageable environment? Let me take each of these one at a time. Sharing first. Crowd service and customer communities are an example of sharing, being harvested by commercial means. If you submit an inquiry to Apple Computer about how to connect up your iPhone with something or how to, 100% of those inquiries at apple.com are answered by other customers. Apple employees do not answer customer questions. They merely supervise the answers given by customers. Now, why do customers answer other customers? What compels them to do it? Because they have an urge to share. They want to share. Because they like to help people, because they get feeling of satisfaction from the intellectual challenge, because they get status by doing this, they share. But you have to remember that the social norms that govern this whole sharing economy, the social norms that govern this economy are different from the social norms that govern the commercial economy, the commercial domain. Imagine you're at a party, a cocktail party, and a friend asks you for an introduction to your boss. You know your friend is looking for a job, so he comes up and says, hey, can you introduce me to your boss? I'd just like to meet him. You'd say, sure, Adam, come on over here. I'll introduce you to my boss. But what if Adam then said to you, and by the way, Don, if I get the job, I'll give you $1,000. What? You see how odd that is? Out of place? See how awkward that is? Is that maybe Adam's not my friend at all? Maybe he's not really my friend. Maybe this is just a commercial transaction. In which case, I'm going to charge him a whole lot more than $1,000. Okay? But I'm insulted that he would think that I would do this for money. Okay? So how do you influence your influencers? You have some brand advocates out there. How do you influence their opinions? How do you get them to give you more word-of-mouth marketing? Well, be careful. Be careful about offering money, service, or anything of economic value, because that's worse than not offering anything at all in many cases. That's worse than zero. It's going to turn these influencers against you. It's going to think, what? You think you can buy my opinion? No way. You can't buy my opinion. I'm doing this for my friends and my colleagues. How would I hold my head up if I, succumbed to some commercial offer to taint my opinion? You can't buy influence. You can influence influencers, however. You can do things like acknowledge them. You post a comment on a promoter's blog, or you retweet a smart update. You recognize them. You provide, status awards to accomplished promoters. On Apple's website, when you go and get your question answered, sometimes the customer is identified with a badge that says a gold star customer advisor. Everybody wants to be gold or platinum in something, so you can provide status. Or you could give them information or access to your own people. Hey, we know that you're very influential, you're very well thought of by your peers. How would you like to talk to the engineers who put this new software release together? Wouldn't that be cool? That increases your chances of influencing this influencer. How about decontrol? Decontrol. The world is unpredictable. Again, this is something that John Merrifield said this morning, okay? The world is more and more unpredictable. Change is faster and faster. So let me give you 6 strategies for dealing with increasing unpredictability. First, identify and act on the predictable trends. I can't tell you who the next Adam Führer is going to be, but I can tell you that there will be one. That's predictable, because that's the nature of social networks. Okay? I can tell you. Or think of technology. Anybody know who the world's largest camera company is today? Nokia. Nokia. Nokia is the world's largest. Who's the world's largest music retailer today? Apple. Now, 10 years ago, if you'd been in this room and I quizzed you and I said, in 10 years, who will be the world's largest camera maker? No one would have guessed a mobile phone company. And 10 years ago, if I'd said, in 10 years, who will be the world's largest music retailer? No one would have guessed a computer company. Right? Those are unpredictable. But even 10 years ago, we knew that photographs and music are digitizable information. That was inevitable, that they would move into a digitized format. We knew that much. That's predictable. That's the difference between a predictable trend and an unpredictable result. Prepare for multiple outcomes. Place multiple bets. Do scenario planning. Don't think that you're going to know what the future is, because you don't. No one knows what the future brings. You need to plan for alternatives. Use analytics that don't require high accuracy. Why? Because high accuracy gives you an illusion of accuracy. You can't plan your business to 2 decimal points even 6 months from now, not much less 6 years from now. Okay, so high accuracy gives you a false opinion of confidence, a false confidence in your figures. Develop sense and respond marketing tactics. You've all heard the drill. You should be listening to social media commentary, but because you're listening, you also need to be able to respond. When you see a complaint, you need to be able to intervene. You need to be able to take action. You need to empower the people who are doing the listening to take some actions to try to deal with it. Evaluate initiatives based on inputs and not just outputs. This is a very important idea here. The world is random. There's some skill involved, but largely it's random. When you have an initiative that's really successful, part of that success is due to the skill with which you put your initiative together, and part of it is due to luck. Okay? Similarly, when you have an initiative that fails, part of that failure might be due to your lack of skill. Part of the failure might be luck. A competitor took an initiative at the wrong time. The economy turned down. Okay? So when you evaluate your programs or your executives in a randomized world, it's important to evaluate them not just on the outputs, did you make the sales figure or not, yes or no. Evaluate them also, even if you didn't make the sales figure, was the process good? Did you make stupid mistakes? Okay? Would we do the same thing again? Was the information we relied on reasonably accurate at the time? And evaluate all your inputs that way. And finally, cultivate a reputation for trustability in advance. You want to trust-proof your business in advance. You want your customers to be on your side. Extreme trust is inevitable. You know, what we're saying is that technology is driving the increased speed, volume, and ubiquity of interaction, and increased interactivity is going to generate higher and higher demand for trustability. It's inevitable. So what are we saying? What we're saying is not just that companies should be more trustable. Yeah, they should. We're saying in the future, all companies remaining in business will be more trustable, or they won't remain in business. That's what we're saying. Trustability, increasing trustability, is an inevitable trend that we in the advertising business need to begin planning for with our clients today. The next time you have a discussion with a customer, a client, imagine that that client's own consumer was in the room with you. And think about the discussion from that standpoint. In the future, a mobile operator will automatically enroll you in the most efficient calling plan. Advise you in advance when you're entering a roaming area that charges are going to increase. They'll remind you when your contract is up and you're entitled to a new or improved phone. They'll warn you first if you're about to subscribe from a home or business where service is poor. You think this is science fiction? Vodafone in Turkey is doing this now, and they're bringing it to Australia very soon. They have a customer bill of rights. Basically, you have the right to transparency, the right to proactive support, the right to security. And they do things like proactively assigning you to the right calling plan for your particular combination of data, text, and voice. In the future, a credit card will counsel you to spend wisely and judiciously, the way utility companies urge you to turn out the lights before you leave the room. You know, you think about it, it's in the utility company's interest that you leave the lights on. They make more money that way. They counsel you because, you know, they're a monopoly, number one. And number two, they realize that that's in the best interest of society, that people conserve on energy. It'll let you set a spending It'll let you set a spending budget and text you regularly with updates. Think about this. Imagine you had a credit card where you could say, I don't want to spend more than $500 a month on this credit card. And on your website for that credit card, you get your spending budget right there. And every week, they send you a text. This is week 2 of the month, and you've spent $350 already. Okay? That'd be cool. What about providing incentives for paying down your balance? Barclaycard does that in the UK right now. Reduce your balance, we reduce your interest rate. They won't earn very much from late fees to help you save more, perhaps putting money aside for you as and when your spending occurs. So for every dollar you spend, they bill you $1.05 and they put 5 cents in your savings account with your name on it. Citibank's Simplicity Card, launched in 2013. No late fees, no penalty interest rates. Companies are coming to this. In the future, a retail bank will eliminate overdraft fees for credit-worthy clients. If you're the kind of company, kind of client that we would have lent you money, we're not going to charge you an overdraft fee. We might charge you interest rate, but we're not going to charge you an overdraft fee. We're just going to lend you the money. They'll disclose fees proactively. They'll allow you to post reviews of products. They'll guarantee that if you decide to leave, your e-payment files will be transferred to the next bank you deal with. We don't want you to leave, but if you do leave, we're going to make it easy for you. We're going to make it frictionless because we're on your side. We get your back. That's the future of retail banking. GMAC in the United States became Ally Bank recently. And Ally Bank is based on 3 pillars of customer service. Do it right, talk straight, and be obviously better. Some of Ally Bank's policies, things like reminders if you have idle money that could be earning higher interest rate in another account. They do no charge to move funds from one account to another. ATM fees charged by other banks are remitted to you. And every product page on Ally's website has a space to read or write customer reviews. As far as I know, at least in the United States, Ally Bank and USAA Bank are the only 2 retail banks that will allow universal, moderated, but unedited customer reviews. And every page on Ally's website has a toll-free number along with the estimated wait time before you'll be able to talk with a salesperson. Your employees themselves, they want to work for a trustable company. Your employees want to do it. At one U.S. client, this client had 40,000 employees. We sent out an email as part of a consulting engagement. We sent an email to the rank and file workers for suggestions on how this company could be more trustable. We got 3,000 replies from employees with hundreds of ideas for it. Hundreds. Your rank and file employees, or your clients' rank and file employees, they know what policies their clients are practicing that aren't trustable, and they want to work for a more trustable company. They want to work. So, let me summarize. 5 requirements for being trustable. You want to be trustable with your clients? First, demonstrate humanity. Human beings have empathy, and they're fallible. When you make a mistake, admit it. Hey, we screwed up. Sorry. Okay, we're trying to make it better. Okay? Don't try to hide from your mistakes. The cover-up is always worse than the crime. Think long-term. Think like Amazon does. Short-term costs might apply, but long-term benefits is what Amazon's getting. Be competent. You want product competence in the form of a reliable product with high quality, and you want customer competence in the form of a good customer database where the customer doesn't have to tell you the same thing over and over again. Share. People want to share. You should make that available. You should harvest that sharing instinct. You should harness that sharing instinct for the business service. And respect evidence. Evidence, data. Data has to be accurate, and it has to be objective. But if you don't respect evidence, you're not going to benefit from the era of big data. And let me give you a few shortcuts. Here's a few shortcuts, very quick. You want to earn the trust of your customers very quickly? Here's a couple of ideas. How about providing objective counsel, like a price comparison tool or a brand-neutral advice on customer problems? Or how about recommending a competitive product when appropriate? Nothing is going to earn your customers' trust faster than if you recommend a competitor when you can't do something or when you can't do something as well as the competitor can in this particular situation. Be careful with this. Be judicious with it. But in the appropriate situation, it is a fantastic way to earn your customers' trust, the way Syngenta found in South Africa. Remind a customer of his warranty. is about to expire, or a price will soon increase, or a renewal fee will kick in. Remind him in advance. Hey, don't forget, a fee is coming. You know, be prepared. Or take action now. Proactively send a refund when something's appropriate. In Jeff Bezos' letter to shareholders for 2013, he said Amazon's going to start doing that. Amazon's computers already calculate if a refund is due, okay? They already know this. They know if your video didn't stream well, or if you, for some reason, didn't get the lowest price offered by Amazon. The computers know this, and they load it in your record, and right now what happens is Amazon waits for you to call in, and if you call in and you have a complaint, we give you the refund right away. Computer says you do a refund. Bezos says from now on, they're not going to wait for their customers to call in. When the computer software says that this customer would be due a refund if he were to call in, they proactively contact the customer and tell him you're due for a refund based on the last service thing we had with you. One more thing. Integrity is not elastic. No one ever has some integrity. You either have integrity or you don't have integrity. You're either honest or you aren't honest. And you know what? If you can earn and keep the extreme trust of your customers, then workers are going to trust managers and each other. Vendors, stakeholders, partners, investors, they're all going to trust your company because you're trustable. So what I'm saying here, I'm saying that trustability won't just make your company more profitable. It's not just a good business strategy. It's going to make you a better company. You'll be a better place to work. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Don Pepper. And please keep staying on the stage to receive certificates of appreciation and flower souvenir. And now we would like to invite Mr. Nguyễn Văn Nhân, the head of Foreign Affairs Department of AdAsia, go to the stage. Và bây giờ tôi xin trọng kính mời ông Nguyễn Văn Nhân, trưởng ban tổ chức đối ngoại AdAsia, sẽ tặng bằng chứng nhận, bó hoa và kỷ niệm chương cho ông Don Pepper. Please give a big applause to congratulations Mr. Don Pepper. Thank you very much. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn ông Nguyễn Văn Nhân, trưởng ban đối ngoại AdAsia. Yes, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, very short working things. Now, this evening at 6:30, we will have the Dentsu night. So please, after the Congress, stay behind and join us for the Dentsu night. Tomorrow morning, we have a very good session starting at 9 o'clock. So please be here before 9 o'clock. We are going to start 9 o'clock sharp. Ask your friends to spread the news. Ask them to come punctual tomorrow. And then tomorrow evening, we'll have the Taipei night at the Grand Plaza Hotel. So please tell everybody to go there and enjoy the hospitality that Taipei is going to bring to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Raymond So. Ladies and gentlemen, through the Doctor's presentations, I want to say thank you for your interesting subjects on technology and customer. We are very happy because the customer is always king, and things always need in our life is the trust. So empathy for customer and get empathy in return. As the same saying, if you want my sympathy, just open your heart to me. Và một lần nữa xin được cảm ơn một chủ đề rất là thú vị về khách hàng của ông, và khách hàng thì luôn là thượng đế, và có một điều mà trong cuộc sống chúng ta luôn cần, đó chính là niềm tin, sự tin tưởng lẫn nhau. Một lần nữa xin được cảm ơn ông Don Pepper again. Thank you so much, Mr. Don Pepper again. And now we are going to heading towards to the end of today's session, creating brand advocacy in an area of digital empowerment by Tom Doctoroff, GWT Advocacy. He's on to best-selling books on Chinese customer, billions selling to new Chinese customer, and what Chinese one. Tom is highly sought after keynote speaker and has spoken at many globally prestigious and important international events. His unique combination of pan-Asian work plus more than decades of experience in China, he has him a leading experience in cross-border managing a brand, article, and brand building. And now, a big applause to welcome Mr. Tom Doctoroff. Thưa quý vị, và ngay bây giờ sẽ là bài trình bày tạo dựng sự ủng hộ thương hiệu trong thời đại kỹ thuật số. Và chúng ta hãy cùng chào đón ông Tom Doctoroff.
Thank you. Okay. Is this working? Can somebody help me turn this on? Testing. There, that's much better. I will try, okay, to move this apace because I realize that it is the end of the day. But after the previous presentation, I'm so nervous because my Microsoft client calls me TV Tom. And they said I can't even say I'm in advertising anymore. That's such an outdated word, especially when only 12% of people believe in advertising. So I now say that I engineer media-neutral, idea-centric participation platforms. So these are words from me, somebody who is sweeping into middle age, clinging on to relevance in this new world of technological liberation and consumer empowerment. You guys have heard all day today about the new media landscape, that it's fundamentally changing the relationship between brands and consumers, so I won't go into the details here. You all know that consumers have many choice, regardless of whether we're talking about different forms of social media, we're talking about sharing, special interest aggregators, RFID, Bluetooth, evolving technology, Google Glasses. The choices are infinite, and there is no such thing. In fact, it is an oxymoronic word to say that somebody is a digital expert. For how can you become an expert in what is constantly changing and evolving? But choice is ever exploding. And I just want to say something from TV Tom, that still the TV is relevant out there. Actually, I'm not allowed to say TVC anymore. Instead, I will call it a filmic expression, a screen-neutral filmic expression. This type of communication, 30 seconds of color, sound, and a clearly crafted message is always going to be important for defining a brand proposition. But we are existing in a much more chaotic world of digital advertising that often feels completely uncentered. And in this new world, we have to think of ourselves as not talking about share of voice. That's an old world media term, but we have to talk about share of time. The fundamental change of digital empowerment is that it allows a consumer to have an active relationship with a brand. Not just a passive relationship, but an active relationship with a brand. And share of time is fundamental because share of time is how we build relationships with our consumers. We create ideas that people want to spend time with. That is the new definition of a powerful idea or a big idea. The better the idea, the more people will spend time with it, and the more time they will spend. And this, of course, is what we mean by ROI. There are so many different definitions of ROI, but ultimately it's about a behavioral change. It's a behavioral change that is made possible by turning passive exposure into active participation. And depending on our marketing objective, depending on our behavioral objective, that's what we mean by ROI. It can be measured in terms of CPM, retweets, time spent with a site, but ROI is increasingly fundamental in any advertising agency that does not have performance at the center of its offering. Data and analytics will quickly be obsolete. But I lived 15 years in China, Shanghai. 有一句话，你好，我们的台湾的朋友们，团结就是力量。我不会说50年不变。But from unity comes strength. At the end of the day, today I would like to have an appeal that as we become seduced and disoriented by this new era of technological liberation and explosion, we recommit ourselves to the timeless fundamentals of what brand building is and always will be and always has been about. And that is a brand idea. What is a brand idea? A brand idea is a long-term relationship between consumer and brand that remains consistent over time, yet evolves over time and space. I will repeat that one more time. A brand idea is the long-term relationship, 中文是关联, between consumer and brand that remains consistent over time, but evolves over time and place. A brand idea is like a marriage. It evolves. A brand idea is the soul of a brand. A brand idea is something that is a commitment. It is something that is long-term, not tactical and short-term and degraded by only promotion. And of course, a brand idea in a relationship is something that is mutual, that is balanced, that is equal. And this brand idea needs to be defined. Brand consistency is the golden rule, despite technological explosion. I just want to give an example of a brand in China, Anta. Anta. Now, as we all know, Vietnam has the same problem as China, where there are a lot of low-priced goods out there. And in order to escape the downward pull of commoditization, you need to establish a relationship. Anta is now, in terms of the number of shoes sold, the largest shoe brand in China, even larger than Nike. Now, a few years ago, back in 2006, Li-Ning was the second largest brand. Anta was a distant fourth. Li-Ning, over the past 6 years, has said many, many different messages. It has not been consistent. Anta has always remained consistent with the same brand idea. And today, Anta, in terms of profit, is the second largest brand with 1.7 billion in the PRC, and Li-Ning is fourth. This is the power of consistency. This is the brand idea. Volume, please. 永不止步 is the brand idea. Forge yourself. Volume, please. Louder. Louder. This is from 2005. There we go. It's sold to the mass market of China. From hard work, glory emerges. That is the relationship. Forge yourself. From sweat comes glory. Let your medal be the badge of honor. Your scars be the badge of honor. This is 2006. 永不止步. Now, for 7 years or 8 years, this has been the same brand idea. Through digital engagement, whether you're talking about social networks or even a more recent Basketball is Life campaign, it is the same brand spirit. Forging yourself. 永不止步. Consistency earns profit. Please play. Please play. Play. Please.
生命是上天赐予的礼物。每天升起的太阳，你感受到自己的能量，
Same
释
brand
放野
idea.
心和欲
7
望，
years later.
开始冒险，经历顺境、逆境、沉寂。
Mass market, not high end.
学会
Wuhan,
坚强，
not Shanghai.
学会感恩。生命只有一个方向，不可预知，但它存在，不离不弃。篮球是生命。
So the key simple point is consistency. And as we talk about brand advocacy, as we talk about brand engagement, let's just take a step back. What is this new communications model that we're talking about from a communications perspective? And then we'll talk very quickly about the role of influencers, which is what Mr. Peppers was just talking about. And then finally, how do we touch the hearts? Because ultimately, consumer marketing is about touching the hearts of consumers by addressing a fundamental motivation of behavior and preference. So what is this new communications model of advocacy? Well, actually, today is a very interesting time because we have two completely relevant and very opposed models of brand building operating today. The first one is what you can call the old model, but I prefer to call it the timeless model because it is as relevant today as it ever was. And that is a broadcast model. That is a model of clear messages, filmic expression, print advertising, messages that are passively received. This is what you could call lean back. It starts with awareness, it moves into preference, and then finally it moves into purchase. But of course, since technology has liberated consumers and communications, there's a new model, and that is a model of advocacy. It starts with one-on-one relationship. It moves into purchase, and then it reaches the holy grail of advocacy or loyalty, deepening the relationship so that through loyalty you can charge a higher price. Through a higher price, you have a higher profit margin. Through a higher profit margin, you have a more profitable company. Through a more profitable company, you have a happier, more harmonious society. So the old model is top-down. This is the language of the military. This is a language of defeating your competitor, conquering share, penetrating the market. It's bold, it's aggressive, it's masculine. The new model, on the other hand, the bottom-up model, not the top-down model, is relationship. It's whisper, it's dialogue, it's one-on-one. At its worst, the top-down model is like propaganda. Government-issued propaganda. 我们是中国最厉害的. It's boring. It knocks you senseless. It doesn't touch the heart. The bottom-up movement, on the other hand, is street movement. It's something that sweeps like waves across the city. The top-down movement at its best is a religion. When Nike says, just do it, its brand idea, it's articulating a belief, a sacred belief that you can resist the demands of a society and define yourself independent of the expectations of society. It is faith. In its best moment, top down is articulated faith, just like the Bible. And the bottom up is not faith, it's not religion, it's evolution. Evolution that we can never completely predict. And so what we have right now is a coexistence of two very fundamental model of loyalty, and that is top-down versus bottom-up. They are equally relevant. And in today's 21st century, our mission, our noble mission as marketers and communication practitioners and advertising professionals is to reconcile these two models, to forge order from chaos. And through that, we spread the glory of the brand. Somebody who is Clive Sirkin, who is the VP of marketing, said something very important. We don't believe in digital marketing. We believe in marketing in a digital world, and there's a huge difference. That means that the timeless principles of brand building, the ABCs of loyalty, in some ways never change. Let's take a look at just one very simple example of how by having a brand idea and a clear creative idea and then offering that to consumers, you invite participation. You encourage them to opt in, but through an idea. The Cadbury brand idea has always been producers of joy. Here is a creative idea. Actually, can you hold on until I say, please? Mom? Creative expression, drop it in, see it spread. Now you can continue to play. Thank you. I'm looking at God up in the heavens. Just a viral video, and the viral video spreads. Producers of joy, the brand idea. I know what you're thinking. We're all so cute when we're young. But in 24 hours, 4 million people viewed that on YouTube, and that was just the beginning. Raise, because it was inviting people to opt in, became a phenomenon. There was co-creation and pass-along, and according to the Guinness Book of World's Record, the world's largest communal eyebrow dance with 6,000 remix videos was created in a record 8 hours. And then celebrities got into the act. Regardless of whether we're talking about an American rapper, Kanye West, who just married, unfortunately, the Kardashian sister, or U.S. celebrity blogger Perez Hilton, they got into the eyebrow act. There was talking, sharing, connecting, tweeted by world-famous celebrity, and there was a 1-minute remix by Lily Allen on Britain's Got Talent. So this is just a hint that opting in, advocacy, takes on a life of its own. And one thing that everybody agrees on, and it was consistent with Mr. Pepper's last presentation, is the one number that you need to grow your business is the number of advocates. Statistic, according to Bain & Company, online presence increases purchase interest by 84%. Statistic, again, by a respectable management consulting company, Bain & Company. Unlike advertising, which sometimes feels it exists at the fringes of legitimacy. People recommendations result in purchase intent increases by 33%. And in China, fact, 92% of digital consumers will only buy a product if opinion leader or bloggers have written a positive review. Clearly, advocacy is fundamental. So how do we construct advocacy from a communications perspective? What are the golden rules of brand advocacy? Well, I just want to talk about 2 groups of people. First is the e-fluencers, which was referred to in the last presentation. And second is the netizens, which is really about consumer advocacy. So let's talk very briefly about online opinion leaders. It was discussed in the last presentation. Yes, it is absolutely true that opinion leader advocacy, marketing directly to people who understand and are referred to as experts, is a way to accelerate loyalty of a brand. And there are only 3 basic rules to targeting these influencers. 1, identify the right opinion leader. 2, tap into their motivations. And 3, be responsive to online dynamics. First, we don't have time to get into a list of who these people are, but in every market from Vietnam to China to Taiwan to Indonesia, in every key high involvement category from auto to fashion, there are experts that people go to online to seek opinions. Find out who they are, and as marketers, develop a relationship with them. 2, tap into their motivations. These people are like anybody else. Ultimately, they want to project status. They want acknowledgement for society for being experts in their field. So they too, like anybody else, wants to display coolness and show off knowledge ahead of the curve. So in terms of knowledge, VW had a people's car project enabling car aficionados to design their own car of the future, car concept, and then reblog that and discuss the brand in the context of this platform. It became a platform for geeks to display cool